How great the energy in this room. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm Kathy Coleman. I'm the Executive Director of Floatwater Theater Foundation, and I am really delighted to welcome all of you, and especially our guests from Brookline, Sister City, Milwaukee. I'm trying. And including, of course, Mayor Perez and other distinguished guests. We're just so delighted to do this. And Maxine Shaw, who established this Sister City relationship almost 3 decades ago. We are so honored. So in Coolidge Corner Theater board member and community activist extraordinaire, Toby Hoy, approached me many, many months ago about having this event here, and she told me about the organization. I said, we have to have it here. I mean, there's nowhere else to have it. This is the place it needs to be, because it's a community event, and we're all about community. The Coolidge has been at the heart of the Brookline community since it opened in 1933. That's 81 years ago. And it's because of this community that we will celebrate our 25th anniversary as a nonprofit next year. Thank you. Tonight, we join together as one community and to continue the celebration, which it sounds like it's just kicked off in a great way, and you've got a lot of exciting events ahead of you. The celebration of the 27th anniversary of our relationship. And what better way to do that than through sharing poetry and music and warm hearts and joy. So thank you so much for coming. I know the evening will be wonderful. And before I turn into one of you enchanted audience members, I'd like to introduce Richard Segan, who is now president of the Brookline Brookline Sister Project. Thank you for your patience and have a wonderful time.
Thank you, Kathy, and I'm not sure I can do any better with the pronunciation despite the fact that I've been involved with the Sister City Project for 15 years. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Kathy. We owe a special word of thanks for the Coolidge Corner Theater. They are really a part of the fabric of this community, and not only for this event, but so many other ways that they contribute to our community. So thank you very, very much. I also want to give a call out, a shout out for Chobi Hoy. Kathy already mentioned Chobi and Judy Parody. Judy and Chobi really pulled together this event. It was their idea. In fact, at first they were met with some skepticism because Brookline Sister City Project has never had an event quite like this. So thank you, Chobi, and thank you, Judy, for persevering. Chobi is also the honorary co-chair of our 27th anniversary celebration committee, and she has been a very, very active chair in contributing in so many different ways. So thank you, Chobi. 30 years ago, Maxine Shaw was working in a one-room schoolhouse in Quetzalcoatl. And as a result of the opportunity that she saw in terms of two communities working together and partnering, the Brookline Sister City Project, the Brookline Quetzalcoatl Sister City Project was formed, and Brookline was formally recognized, Quetzalcoatl was formally recognized by Brookline as its sister city. And I don't know if Maxine would have imagined that 27 years later, here we are. We're still going strong, and but she planted the seeds. She has been a tireless leader for many years of the Brookline Sister City Project. She came from Florida especially to be with us for this celebration. So Maxine, thank you very much. In a moment, you're going to hear from the mayor of Quetzalcoatl, and Maxine is going to serve as our translator and MC. But before that, and I don't want to take up a lot of time because it is really a great program, I think, that Chobe and Judy have put together. I just want to note that the vision that Maxine had in terms of two communities learning together and partnering together has been one that has been carried on. And we have worked in many, many different areas, in healthcare, in education, in the arts, in special needs and housing. We've built a library, we've built a health center. If you'd like to learn more about the Brookline Sister City Project, you can find us online at brooklinesistercity.org. There are two other major public events that are part of Brookline Sister City Week. On Wednesday, we're having a forum on chronic kidney disease. Dr. Peter Stringham, who is in the audience somewhere, is moderating the panel on chronic kidney disease of unknown origin. There have been more than 20,000 deaths across the western part of Central America related to chronic kidney disease. It's a real issue affecting lots of people, including people in our sister city. On Thursday night, we are having a fundraiser and a celebration and a farewell party for our guests. It's going to be Divine Right Grill. Governor Michael Dukakis will be in attendance along with Congressman Joe Kennedy. So both of those events are, we're happy to have you if you're available to join us on Wednesday and Thursday night. So I'd now like to welcome, and it's my privilege to introduce our three guests from our sister city. They arrived on Friday. This is their first time in the United States for all three of them. They're staying with host families in Brookline, and I want to invite them up. First, La Alcaldesa, the mayor of Quetzalhuaque, Reina Javarilla Perez. La Alcaldesa will say a few words in a moment, but first I want to introduce our other two guests, Dr. Marcelino Blanco. Dr. Blanco is the Director of Health in Quetzalhuaque and oversees a health center and 2 health outposts and is in charge of the public health programs. And also with us this evening, our third guest from Quetzalhuaque is Carmen Narvaez. Carmen, are you Carmen? Carmen is the president of Los Pepitos, which is a parent organization that is responsible for the development of 2 special needs schools in Quetzalhuaque, and she is the driving force behind that. We're very happy that she's here with us tonight also and for this week. So now I'm going to turn the floor over to Mayor
Reina Chavarria.
Reina Javarilla Perez.
Muy buenas noches. Good evening.
Querido pueblo de Brookline,
Dear town of Brookline,
en nombre de la delegación de nuestro municipio de Quetzalhuaque,
in the name of the delegation from our town of Quetzalhuaque,
le damos nuestro más grande agradecimiento por esta hermandad que hemos mantenido durante 27 años en nuestro municipio de Quetzalhuaque.
we would like to offer you the deepest thanks for this sister city relationship which has gone on for the past 27 years.
Son 27 años de lazos de hermandad lleno de mucho amor, cariño, fraternidad y solidaridad con el hermano pueblo de Brookline, Quetzalhuaque.
It's 27 years of a very strong bond of solidarity and love and all kinds of wonderful personal relationships between Brookline and Quetzalhuaque.
Es primera vez que estamos aquí con ustedes.
It's the first time that we're here with you.
Gracias a Dios y a ustedes nos sentimos muy bien, mejor que en casa, por esta gran acogida que nos han dado durante estos 4 días de estar en su tierra.
And thank you very much. We felt more than at home here with this wonderful, warm welcome you've given us in your town.
Durante estos 27 años, gracias a Dios y Maxine que emigró en aquel tiempo,
At least 27 years, thanks to God and all of you.
se pudo fundar el hermanamiento de Brookline, Quesalhuaques.
We were able to establish the sister city relationship between Brookline and Quesalhuaque.
Son 27 años de historia, de caminos recorridos donde nuestro municipio ha avanzado enormemente.
That's 27 years of history and a road through which we have traveled together, and our sister city has advanced enormously.
Con la solidaridad de ustedes, hemos construido una biblioteca muy envidiada por todo nuestro departamento de León.
Thanks to your solidarity, we were able to build a library, which is the envy of everybody else in the León area.
Hemos avanzado en el área de salud y educación.
And we've made great advances in health and education.
Este año 2014 tenemos las dos grandes aulas tecnológicas de computación.
And this year, 2014, we inaugurated our first 2 IT classrooms.
Nuestro municipio es bastión porque es el primer municipio que tuvo la primera aula tecnológica en un instituto de la zona rural.
And we are the first town in Nicaragua to have an IT classroom in a rural area. We're leaders.
Esperamos que estos lazos de hermandad y de fraternidad se sigan manteniendo para el bienestar de toda nuestra familia quesalhuaqueña.
And we hope that these bonds of friendship and solidarity will continue for our 2 wonderful towns.
Y le decimos a nuestro querido pueblo de Brookline, a la hermandad, que las tierras de nuestro Quesalhuaque están siempre anuentes a recibirlos con los brazos abiertos en el momento que ustedes lo deseen.
And she's extending a welcome to all of you to come to, and you will get a very warm welcome in Quesalhuaque. She wants you all to come.
Así es que, querido pueblo de Brookline, los esperamos en nuestro municipio de Quesalhuaque, departamento de León, Nicaragua. Agradeciéndole esta invitación, esperamos que disfrutemos y sigamos siempre unidos, llenos de amor, de cariño, de fraternidad y solidaridad. Este lazo que siempre nos mantiene fuerte y solidario. Buenas noches a todos.
Okay, our arms are open for all of you to come, and when she goes so long without me interrupting, my mind is old and I don't remember all the words, but she's waiting for you with open arms, and hope that you'll all come soon. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Tres Sudacas, a trio formed by Esther Rojas from Colombia on bass, Marianela Rojas from Venezuela on voice and percussion, and Eduardo Mercuri from Brazil on guitar. The trio creates a fusion of traditional musical genres from their native countries with jazz harmony and pop elements which give a subtle and fresh sound as a result. The members met at Berklee College of Music 2 years ago, and they've been playing together ever since. They were part of a band that played with the 3-time Grammy Awards and 16 Latin Grammy Award winner Alejandro Sanz at the Latin Grammy Awards in Las Vegas in November 2013. Las Tres Sudacas.
said, we're three Sudacas. We're really, really happy to be here and be part of this amazing event. She's from Colombia, he's from Brazil, I'm from Venezuela. And what we're trying to do is to bring these cultures together. We met at Berkeley, as she said, and since we met, we were like, we should do something together. So that's what we did. We have like 1 year, I think, playing together. And this next tune we're gonna do is an example of the music that we're trying to bring. And it's a cumbia from Colombia, really nice to dance. And it's an arrangement by her, and you're gonna enjoy it. Any Colombian here? Yeah? Oh, they're gonna do it. So, As I said, we already did a song from Colombia, this rhythm called cumbia. And now, because I'm from Venezuela, we must do something from Venezuela. And I'm actually from an island. I wasn't planning to say that, but Margarita Island is so beautiful. You are all invited whenever you want to go. My house is there for you. And this song that we're going to do is called El Alcaraván. I'm not going to tell you the story right now because I'm going to say, like, in the middle of the song, I'm going to tell you why it's called El Alcaraván. Okay? Are you ready? Okay. Maybe you can help me here a little bit. Ready?
El perico en el conuco, la totuma en el corral, y hasta el gallo carraspea cuando pasa un animal.
As I promised. El Alcaraván is a bird that passes over this town, and every time that he makes this noise over the town, it is actually not that noise, but something like that. It means that one of the girls that is living there in the town is pregnant. Yeah, so there's this mom, she takes all her daughters and she brings them to her house, and she's like, starts to interrogate them and starts like, who's pregnant here? Tell me, is it you, is it you? And they say, no, it's not me, it's her, no, it's me. And then one of them says, Mama, I know who wasn't. It's Maria. Maria, what? No, it's not me. I promise it was not. It's not me. And one of them says, yes, it was you, because I saw you when you were running to the mountain to bring coffee to Pedro. She's like, no, but that doesn't mean anything. She's like, yes, because when you went there, the moon was beautiful and really, really big, and that means that you're not a little girl anymore. And then she's like, what? No, that's not true, that's not true. She's, yes, it's true. And you know what? Every time that a caravan passes by the house, Pedro gets really, really scared.
Y esa noche la luna se puso bonita, clarita, que hasta Pedro se asusta, se pasa a comer carnaval. Y esa noche la luna se puso bonita, clarita, que hasta Pedro se asusta, se pasa a comer carnaval.
Thank you. Gracias. And with this tune, we're going to say bye. And but because it's the last tune, we wanted to be really special. And it's actually a tune by a singer-songwriter really famous right now in Nicaragua. His name is Luis Enrique. I think you know him. We actually had the opportunity to play with him, I think it was last year, and he's an amazing person. So it was a great opportunity for us. I'm not going to say the name of the tune because I know you know it. And I know it's a theater, but you can stand and dance anywhere, right? So if you feel it, just...
Yo no sé si tú, no sé si yo seguiremos siendo como hoy. No sé si después de amanecer vamos
the great honor to introduce someone to you who I'm sure needs no introduction. Juno Diaz is a creative writing professor at MIT. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner and was a MacArthur Genius Award fellow. We are so happy that he agreed to participate in this program this evening and help us by introducing Vida Luz Meneses. Please join me in welcoming Juno Diaz.
Very kind. Thank you so much. First, I want to congratulate the young folks. Yeah. You know how it is. We don't have enough encouragement for our young people to produce art, so it's wonderful. Congratulations. Brookline, of course, congratulations on your sister city efforts. It's an extraordinary, worthy labor. I wish more towns were as successful as you all are. Of course, I wanted to acknowledge my friends in the audience. A Brookline native, Dr. Peter Moyer is here. Great inspiration to me, both as a man and as an artist. Someone, and also who's dedicated his sort of life to the betterment of his community. I'm going to be brief. First of all, of course, I wanted to welcome all of you here for this evening. I think there's probably no better way to spend a weekend, a weekday. It's weekday, right? Shit. You can tell we're in the middle of teaching. I'm like, where are we? Yeah. No, there's no better way to spend time together, you know? So I appreciate you all coming out for this. Y también quiero dar bienvenido a nuestros amigos de Nicaragua que están aquí, ¿verdad? Familia, ¿cómo están? Bien. ¿Sí? Llegaron esta semana, ¿verdad?
Sí, viernes.
Uf. Creo que está un malito frío, ¿verdad? Que pegó hoy. Bueno, se puso frío ayer también. Bueno, bienvenido. Ojalá que se están portando muy bien estos gringos, porque a veces tú sabes, hay que ver. Qué bueno, hay que averiguar, tú sabes cómo son las cosas. No, pero es verdad, un gran placer, un honor que ustedes están aquí. Y poeta, Vida Luz, ¿dónde estás? Ay, Vida Luz, qué honor estar aquí contigo, de veras, sinceramente. Un gran honor. So, yeah, I guess I just was going to take a few minutes to talk about a couple of things and then just jump right into our introduction. It's a curious thing what is happening here in Brookline. This idea of building a circuit between the two communities. This idea of building a bond between two communities that does not involve government factors. This is perhaps the most revolutionary element of the sister cities, yeah? You guys know as well as I do that government-to-government connections, while they have their place, as my chair said recently just now, they certainly don't do the kind of work that communities can do for each other. Now, we live in an interesting time. We live in a time that the great writer and critic Samuel R. Delany described as the time of overwhelming network. Now, what he means by that is not what most people tend to think. What he means by network is that Samuel R. Delany distinguishes from two kinds of very important connections between people and communities. One of them is networks. Networks is you hang out with the people who graduated from your university. You shop in your area of town. Yeah. You frequent the stores where you have your frequent buyer cards. Yeah. Networks shape people's communities and simplify people's communities. It usually makes these things sort of vulnerable to the interference from both government and markets. Yeah. Networks is sort of the reason we have gated communities. Yeah. And then Delaney describes another form of interaction, which he calls contact. Contact is what tends to happen in cities before they get restructured in a neoliberal model. Contact is what happens when folks just encounter each other in public spaces, not determined by where they graduated school, by where they shop, not by their religion, not by their race, not even by their class. Contact is the sort of stuff that happens on trains, on public transportation, in our public spaces. Contact is that form of community which is most vital for any community. And yet, as Samuel R. Delaney has described, contact is what we are most losing. In fact, most of us rarely encounter people in an unmediated fashion. Network has devoured most human connections. And rare do we spend a lot of uninterrupted time with people from different classes anymore. It's just not the way it happens. Usually it's mediated by a job or it's mediated by a social service. And I think that one of the important labors that is happening here, one of the important labors that these sort of sister cities enable, is the ability for groups and communities that would normally never have any connection to suddenly have contact, to speak to each other across vast distances of language, geography, history, class, and of course, space. Contact is that which we not only must preserve, but that what we must absolutely encourage if we are to maintain and expand what we would call a human community. Because if we limit everything and all of our relations to that which comes through our political parties, our churches, just our street and our communities and where we shop, we lose everything that makes the world the world. For me, growing up in the 80s when I did, one of the things, especially growing up Latino immigrant in the 80s, one of the things that you must remember is that Nicaragua as a nation arrived emphatically into our world, not only across the axis of news, but also through the bodies of immigrants and of refugees, of folks escaping from conflicts, of folks coming as immigrants. And that's another kind of circuit. And it must be remembered that in a country like ours that loves to hate immigrants and encourages deep fear and hostility for outsiders. Immigrants form and perform an important function to keep us profoundly connected to the world. Because that wasn't the only thing that was flowing out of Nicaragua, was news and bodies. We were also receiving culture. We were also receiving the music and the poetry of Nicaragua. It was one of the great things about belonging to a Latino community in that period. My friends who only existed in English, they saw a unidimensional view, and yet those of us who existed in Spanish as well were permitted a profounder view. And that is what something like the Sister Cities, something like what you're all doing permits, is a deeper, more human view and deeper and more human connection. And for that, I have to tell you, I must applaud. I must salute you all. It is not easy work. It is not the easiest thing to do, to say people's names incorrectly, to fuck up Spanish, to serve the wrong damn food. And there's all sorts of ways that you can stub your toes in these interactions. But these minor picayune errors are a minuscule price to pay for the richness that you gain from the contact that you have all created. And it is an extraordinary evening for this. An extraordinary evening. Yeah, something that I think we do not celebrate enough is when we create contact. The ability for people to reach across space, time, class, language, all our standard social and political barriers, and to communicate with each other as human beings. It's quite beautiful. I am going to finish simply by introducing the star of our evening. Yeah. Nothing is more important. We've all come together for this. Yeah. I get summoned here just to be the warm-up act. Yeah. Vida Luz. Vida Luz, I can't remember where they put you here. Yes, hi Vida Luz. Wait, I was going to say Vida Luz Meneses, one of our most extraordinary poets, someone who has literally lived the most important events of the 20th century, perhaps a voice that none of us could exist without. And I want to welcome her here to Brookline. Vida Luz, bienvenido.
Buenas noches a todas y a todos.
Good evening, everybody.
Vamos a iniciar esta lectura tratando de ajustarnos al tiempo del que disponemos en este tan lindo teatro que ustedes lo han llenado con mucha solidaridad.
We're going to start and try to keep to the time frame here in this beautiful theater.
Yo voy a leer cada poema en español y mi amiga y hermana de la solidaridad, Maxine, va a leer la versión en inglés.
She's going to read in Spanish and I'm going to follow up in English with a wonderful translation by Maria Ruth in the book that's on sale outside.
Sí, gracias por dar el crédito, María Ruth ha hecho este trabajo tan bueno de traducción y que ahora Maxine va a hacer el favor de leerlo. Quiero dedicar este primer poema a Jennifer Lynch y a todas las mujeres que sufren y han sufrido la violencia doméstica.
I'd like to dedicate the first poem to Brookline's Jennifer Lynch, a victim of domestic violence, and of all the people who have suffered it.
Interrogantes. ¿Quién comprendió a la mujer rescatada de haber sido la cabellera flotante entre los nenúfares? ¿Quién osó penetrar su real intimidad para encontrar la uña en el pecho? ¿Quién escuchó su grito solitario en la madrugada? ¿Quién vio su cuerpo recogido fetal entre las sábanas? ¿Quién escuchó el sollozo en el trasfondo de sus palabras? ¿Quién descubrió la sombra gris debajo de sus párpados maquillados? ¿Quién su mano crispada entre la cruz y el puño? ¿Quién vio en la sensualidad de sus hombros la corva sombra del agobio? ¿Quién supo acariciar sus pechos con la ternura que se da a un recién nacido? ¿Quién le penetró las entrañas y se le acomodó como manso pájaro en el tibio cuenco? ¿Quién le da a esa mujer su verdadero sitial en el paraíso?
Questions. Who understood the woman rescued from becoming long hair floating among water lilies? Who dared penetrate her true intimacy to discover the claw in her breast? Who heard her lonely scream at daybreak? Who saw her huddled fetal body among the sheets? Who heard the sob in the background of her words? Who discovered the gray shadow beneath her tinted eyelids? Who sensed her hand clenched, half cross, half fist? Who saw in her shoulder sensuality, the curved shadow of exhaustion? Who knew how to caress her breasts with tenderness given to newborns? Who thrust into her body and was welcomed like a gentle bird in the warm hollow? Who gives that woman her rightful place in paradise?
He palpado los surcos de los siglos en tus mejillas, mujer cachiquel, la desconfiada ceremonia comercial del regateo, tu impasible posición de tejedora, gandianas rodillas contra el suelo y las manos como rápidas ardillas entrecruzando los hilos del mantel, del delantal o la alfombra que hablarán de vos, morena Penélope, en otras latitudes. Silente compañera que tejiste los cabellos del amado bajo la luna que aullando quisieron atrapar los viejos lobos, vientre preñado que abortó rubios hijos de conquistadores, diligente, sombra, símbolo, tradición hecha mujer.
Kachikel woman, I have touched the furrows of centuries in your cheeks, Kachikel woman. The distrustful business ceremony of bargaining, your impassive weaver pose, Gandhian knees against the ground, and your hands like swift squirrels weaving the threads of a tablecloth, apron, or rug that would speak of you, dark Penelope, in other latitudes. Silent partner, you wove the hair of your lover under the moon that ancient wolves howling tried to trap. Pregnant belly that aborted blonde children of conquistadors, diligent shadow symbol, tradition made woman.
Día de Lima, observo tu deslizar de sombra, sutil presencia con que habitabas la vieja casona, el comienzo del día con un baño en las frías madrugadas, cuando las campanas de la iglesia de Molagüina rebotaban su eco en nuestro sueño, el inicio solemne del mismo ritual, ahora que ya nadie te espera, más que las cartas de tu hermana o la lectura del diario en el sofá, sumergiéndote artificiosamente en un mundo que apenas ya transitas. Es curioso, hemos unido soledades y aún recuerdo cuando te dormías, mentón en pecho y manos en el regazo, sin terminar el cuento infantil. Ahora cuando nuestros diálogos se vuelven infinitos y sobre el mismo tema, porque diariamente te sorprende el tamaño y la edad de mis hijos, y me relatás como nuevo acontecimiento la crónica de la muerte de tu hermano. Sentarnos y compartir el silencio o explicarte la revolución sandinista, tu nivelación salarial de maestra jubilada en primer año del triunfo, por qué las mujeres hacemos oficialía, el uniforme de las milicias y tantas cosas nuevas que intentarás comprender antes de tener que abandonarlas.
My Aunt Adelina.
Evocación a mi abuela paterna. Esta casa fue eficiente gracias a la mujer que hoy se ha marchado. En este zaguán queda su sombra, menuda y diligente. Aquí vendió la mantequilla escurrida y la leche de vaca recién ordeñada. Esa mujer fuerte procuró el abrigo de 10 hijos logrados en 14 partos y los reunió a todos a la hora del ángelus para agradecer la vida. Se levantó al alba y en un horno de leña hizo marquesotes y pan de maíz que precavida almacenó para el invierno. En sus manos confió el corazón de su marido. Dejémosla dormir, que por primera vez hijos y nietos la vemos en reposo, aunque extrañemos su quietud y su aparente indiferencia ante nuestra cercanía, acomodando los ramos de flores de quienes la conocieron. Aprendamos una nueva forma de tenerla entre nosotros. Apaguémosle la luz para que continúe el sueño.
Evocation. This house was efficient, thanks to the woman who departed today. In this entry hall, her shadow remains small and diligent. Here she sold strained butter and recently drawn cow's milk. This strong woman managed to raise 10 children from 14 births and gathered all of them at the hour of the Angelus to give thanks for life. She rose at dawn and in a wood stove made marquesote cakes and cornbread she prudently stored for winter. In her hands she entrusted her husband's heart. Let's allow her to sleep for the first time. We children and grandchildren see her at rest, though we are surprised by her stillness and apparent indifference to our nearness, arranging the flower bouquets from people who knew her. Let's learn a new way to have her among us. Let's extinguish the light so the dream can continue.
Trabajo voluntario que espero que les traiga memoria a muchos de ustedes. Dejamos los escritorios, los memorándum y los informes para marchar a los cafetales. Las mujeres recordamos los meses de embarazo, cuando nos amarramos las canastas a la cintura y aumentamos paulatinamente su peso en la recogida del café. Disfrutamos la naturaleza cortando de arbustos agobiados bolitas rojas y brillantes parecidas a cerezas. Otras, oscurecidas con la maduración, adquieren el tono de las uvas y hasta su roce con las yemas de los dedos tienta la imaginación. Los sazones amarillos o verdosos, ovalados o redondos como peras y tomates diminutos. En los surcos de repela quedan dispersos los granos, unos negros y arrugados como pasas y otros duros, calcinados como semillas. En ese paraíso frutal se desliza verde sobre la rama verde el temible chichicaste. Cuando te ataca, el dolor es como de inyección de aceite. La sabiduría del campo descubrió que en él están la vida y la muerte, que su excremento verde intenso se vierte sobre el piquete para quitar el dolor y evitar la fiebre. Recoger café como algodón es regresar a nuestras raíces, cuando nuestros primeros padres cosecharon el cacao. El café y el algodón son nuestra moneda ahora.
She said she hopes this brings back memories for many of you. It's called voluntary labor. We abandoned desks, memoranda, and reports to head for the coffee fields. We women recall months of pregnancy as we tied baskets to our waists and gradually increased their weight in the coffee harvest. We take pleasure in nature, picking from heavy bushes small, cherry-like, brilliant red balls, others darkened by ripeness, acquire the hue of grapes. And even their touch on fingertips tempts our imagination. Beans yellow or greenish, oval or round like tiny pears and tomatoes. In the discard troughs, grains are scattered. Some blackened, wrinkled like raisins, others hard and calcified like seeds. In that fruited paradise, the feared chichicastic caterpillar creeps, green on the green branch. When it attacks you, the pain stings like a shot of oil. Country wisdom discovered it holds life and death. Its bright green excrement pressed on the wound to relieve pain and ward off fever. Gathering coffee and cotton is a return to our roots when our first parents harvested cacao. Coffee and cotton are our coin now.
Este poema es cuando perdimos. Muro de lamentaciones. Esta vez no aguaré la memoria. Asumiré los muertos y la separación de los amantes, que es otra forma de morir. No deambularé esquizofrénica por el mundo, sino con el estandarte del holocausto vivido. No ahogaré sus voces que claman por el reino que no hemos podido construir. No ignoraré la sangre en el barro, el alarido del fondo de las entrañas, el rugido de la multitud acumulado en el pecho, la furia de los impotentes, el mal gusto de gritar en una calle contra las impecables paredes, la punzada directa en el corazón al detenernos en un semáforo. No pondré diques al llanto, ni pesaré las palabras en el fiel de la balanza, la mediocrita áurea hecha trizas, la mesura apartada por inútil, sin tributos ni mayores concesiones a la vida. Hay un tiempo de llorar que debe ser cumplido hasta el hundimiento total, valle de lágrimas, muro de lamentaciones, rasgadura de velos para que salga el ánimo. Y se exponga en la piedra de sacrificio. Hora en que el náufrago suelte su asidero de vida, hora del despliegue de la orfandad ante el final. Más allá de lo visto y vivido, más allá.
Those of you who read her biography will know that at great sacrifice, personal and family, she was very involved in the revolution. And this poem was written in 1990 when the Sandinista revolution was voted out of office. It's called Wailing Wall. This time, I'll not stifle memory. I will claim the dead and the separation of lovers, which is another form of death. I'll not wander the world schizophrenic, but with the banner of the Holocaust lived. I'll not stifle their voices clamoring for the kingdom we were unable to build. I'll not ignore the blood in the dirt, the scream from the bottom of the gut, the masses roar packed into the chest, the fury of the powerless, the discarded scream against spotless walls, the direct stab in the heart as we stop at a traffic light. I'll not dam the flood of tears, nor weigh words in the balance scale. Golden means smashed to bits, restraint abandoned as useless. No tributes or great concessions to life. There is a time to weep that must be fulfilled. To the utter depths, valley of tears, wailing wall, rending a veil so the soul can appear and offer itself on the sacrificial stone. There's an hour for the shipwreck to loosen his hold on life. Hour for unfurling orphanhood given the end. Beyond all we have seen and lived. Far beyond.
Perdone, yo soy llorona, pero espero ya haberme tranquilizado.
She said, I'm sorry, I'm a crybaby.
A fin de cuentas, no diré que fui tu juguete de turno, la pieza de ajedrez, la justificación a tiempo, la presta actitud de recogerte en la caída de bruces, la prudente advertencia a la orilla del abismo, la paterna advertencia desechada, lo volcánico como se enciende, se apaga. No volveré a ver atrás en el fatal designio de Lot. Recogeré las cenizas, prueba palpable de la autenticidad de mi fuego. Será bono, esperanza, espiga dorada, en y para mejores campos.
All in all, I'll not say I was your next plaything, a chess piece, a timely justification, ready and willing to catch you in your headlong fall, the prudent warning at the edge of the abyss, paternal warning discarded. The volcanic, as it ignites, so does it die. I'll not look back again in the fatal design for Lot. I shall gather the ashes, the tangible proof of the authenticity of my fire. It will be humus, hope, golden shaft of grain, in and for better fields.
Este poema se lo voy a dedicar a Maxine y a Enrique. Se llama Amor en cualquier tiempo. Hemos dado cauce a la audacia del amor cuando el brillo gris se ha instalado como aura en tu cabeza y en el entorno de mis ojos y labios los años han puesto su huella incipiente. Hace tiempo que no sos el esbelto muchacho karateca, ni yo la espigada reina estudiantil, desplazándose inalcanzable por su efímero reino. Ya no pudimos encontrarnos en la timidez y el leve temblor adolescente, ni con la llama que envuelve con voracidad los cuerpos encendidos. Algo de todo, sin embargo, quedó sedimentado, que fluye entre los dos cuando fundidos somos uno, entregándonos sin triunfos ni derrotas al amor, jugando a ganarle la partida al tiempo.
Love at any time. We yield ground to the audacity of love when a gray shine has settled like an aura around your head, and on my eyes and lips years have left the incipient mark. For some time you've not been the slim karate kid, nor I the willowy student queen, gliding untouchable in her ephemeral kingdom. We could not find each other in adolescent shyness and trembling, nor in the flame that voraciously envelops bodies on fire. Yet some of all this remained and flows between us when fused we are one, surrendering ourselves to love without triumphs or defeats, trying to win the game against time.
Poeta o ángel terrible, a mis hermanos poetas. Tener un poeta en la casa es cosa terrible. Todo lo pone de cabeza. Saca la vida familiar a la calle. Le da sonido al silencio. Habla con la boca cerrada. Los detalles no le pasan inadvertidos, sino que los agiganta. Dialoga directo con los muertos y con el inconsciente de los vivos. desata el nudo de la realidad tejida con imaginación, pone las estrellas de cielo raso e ilumina la casa con la luna llena, acelera el ritmo lento de los mayores y aquieta niños y adolescentes. Cuando está, ya se ha ido, y cuando se va, aún permanece. Es terrible como los ángeles de Rilke, con todo y el olor de santidad con que impregna lo que toca, convencido de que lo carnal es sobrenatural.
This she dedicates to all her fellow poets. It's called Poet or Terrible Angel. Having a poet in the house is a terrible thing. He stands everything on its head, puts family life out on the street, turns silence into sound, speaks with his mouth closed. Details don't go unnoticed, rather he exaggerates them. He speaks directly with the dead and with the subconscious of the living, unties the knot of reality woven with imagination. He sets stars in the open air and lights the house with a full moon, hurries the slow rhythm of elders and calms children and adolescents. When he's present, he's already gone, and when he leaves, he yet remains. He is terrible like Rilke's angels, with all-this and the odor of sanctity that pervades all he touches, convinced that the carnal is supernatural.
Voy a leer un poema que escribí cuando nació mi nieto Alejandro, que es responsable de que yo esté aquí ahora con ustedes. Y se supone que íbamos a estar juntos, pero él tuvo que hacer un trabajo de universidad, de un disco que está grabando con un grupo musical de Nicaragua y que va a ser parte de su tesis de graduación de músico. Bueno, Alejandro, la otra abuela de Alejandro es de Corn Island, del Caribe nicaragüense. Y Edith Jackson, en la isla de Corn Island, a mi consuegra le dicen Miss Edith, en inglés creol, ¿verdad? Y lleva algunas palabritas también de las canciones de la costa atlántica. Muy largo, ¿qué?
No? Oh, she was into that. Okay, now this poem was written to Alejandro, her grandson, who studies at Berkeley, and who is responsible for her being here tonight. He arranged her to come, and he was supposed to be here too, but he's doing a record in Nicaragua that he hasn't finished and is part of his thesis for Berkeley, so he can't get out of it. So, and the poem, his other grandmother is, they call her Miss Edith. She's English-speaking from the English-speaking part of Nicaragua in Port Island on the Atlantic coast. So there's a reference to her here, and there's also a reference to the music of the Atlantic coast. A couple of songs from that, she refers to them.
Sí, hay un verso, una línea de una canción de Mayoya que dice Mayaya la Sinki, que se supone que quiere decir Mary lost the key, pero en inglés creol. Hay discusiones entre los investigadores, ¿verdad? Pero esa es una interpretación que sale bien con lo que digo aquí, porque la otra abuela de Alejandro dejó el teléfono enllavado por equivocación en una habitación y nos iban a llamar del hospital avisándonos que nacía el nieto y no hallábamos la llave.
Okay, one of the lines in one of the songs is "My Yaya lost the key," and one of the interpretations is that my Yaya is Mary and she lost the key. And so, but Miss Edith, who's the other grandmother, actually really lost the key. They had the telephone locked in a room, and the hospital was supposed to call to say that Alejandro had been born, and the phone rang, and they couldn't find the key to get into the room.
Canción de cuna de Mayo. Mayo es ya Alejandro, buen tiempo para nacer. La lluvia hace germinar el verde, el palo de mayo ya floreció. Buen tiempo para nacer, pero mis iris, los de aquí, buscan las abuelas con qué abrir, el corazón palpitando y el teléfono ring, 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 ring. El nieto acelerado llega al amanecer con la pinta del monárquico bisabuelo, saluda el último día de Maya Yaú y a la interminable familia trenzada en un frondoso maypole. Bienvenido Alejandro Carlos, te canta el tío Simón, sin saima, sin malo.
May lullaby. May is here, Alejandro, a good time to be born. Rain brings out the green foliage, the maypole has blossomed. A good time to be born, but Miss Edith lost the key. Grandmothers search to unlock the door, their hearts aflutter and the phone ring, 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 ding, ding, ding. The rushing grandson arrives at daybreak, looking like his monarchical great-grandfather, greets the last day of Mayo and the endless family woven into a luxuriant maypole. Welcome, Alejandro Carlos. Uncle Simon sings to you. Sing Simon, si malo. We will now take questions.
Sí, claro. Ahorita hay un intercambio si quieren que platiquemos un poco de la poesía, de Nicaragua, de lo que quieran.
Any questions?
And we have a mic here if you can come up, or I can come to you.
Gracias. Voy a preguntarte en español y después lo traducir. Te quiero preguntar, en el proceso de escribir una poesía, ¿tú escribes y lo dejas o cómo es tu proceso?
When you write a poem, do you write it and then leave it for a while, or how do you do it?
Sí, la mayor parte del tiempo dicen que el poema es un verso y el resto es complemento de algo que uno sintió, y la mayor parte del tiempo escribo un primer borrador, lo dejo, allá los días vuelvo a trabajarlo y así va hasta que ya está terminado. Sin embargo, hay poemas curiosos, como uno que no leí hoy porque por lo que soy llorona, como les dije, pero era el dedicado a mi padre por contradicciones políticas. Entonces yo guardé ese poema dentro de mi corazón mucho tiempo, que era como un embarazo, es decir, por 9 meses vos cargas la criatura hasta que está listo, y lo escribí en 5 minutos. Pero no puedo decir que es que se me ocurrió, es que venía gestándose y no había tenido la capacidad de escribirlo. Pero en general sí, es un proceso que uno escribe un primer borrador y después lo va trabajando. Porque sí existe...
Let's see if I can remember all that. She said, in general, yeah, she writes a first draft immediately, and then later on she can come back to it later. But there's some poems that are very curious, like one she did not read because she was already crying, and it was a poem that she wrote about the death of her father in political circumstances. And she carried that around like a pregnancy, and inside of her thinking about it for the longest time, and then when she finally sat down to write it, it only took about 10 minutes. But it wasn't that she wrote it in 10 minutes, it was that it 5 minutes. Okay, you see, it's been a long time. I can't remember all that. Go ahead.
Me corrigieron, no era 10 minutos, era 5.
Y bueno, y realmente es prudente escribir y dejarlo reposar. Me doy cuenta que a veces hay un poema que yo estaba pensando y lo escribí y dice: eres como una línea paralela a mi pecho. Y si se acuerdan las clases de geometría, paralela va así, ¿verdad? Claro. Pero en mi cabeza, lo que yo quería decir era que caía así, directa al pecho. Pero tenía que haber usado la palabra perpendicular, que es horrible para un poema.
she said that sometimes it's prudent to sit on the poems for a while and go back and look at them, and she gave an example of something which she said that you're like como una línea paralela, that you're like a parallel line to my heart. And then she was
Pero yo
saying,
quería decir así.
what she really wanted to say was perpendicular because, you know, that she wanted to go straight to her heart, but then perpendicular was such an awful word. So
No, es mejor
Not poetic.
decir que es directa, pues, ¿verdad? Y si no buscamos sinónimos, esa es parte del trabajo del lenguaje, buscar los sinónimos.
So she had to look for a synonym because that's a great part of the work, is finding the correct synonym.
¿Cuándo empezaste a escribir poesía? ¿Naciste como poeta? ¿Naciste como poeta? ¿O cómo lo encontraste? Or it found you?
When did you first start writing poetry? And were you always a poet, or did it find you, and how?
De 14 años, cuando estaba en secundaria,
When I was 14 in high school,
empecé a escribir poemas con rima.
I started writing poetry with rhyme.
Yo leía a Rubén Darío,
I read Rubén Darío,
Amado Nervo
Amado Nervo,
y a Gustavo Adolfo Bécquer.
and Becker.
Yo era una chavala bien romántica
I was very romantic
y bastante nostálgica.
and very nostalgic.
Y realmente, y Rubén Darío, fíjense que mi abuela materna se llamaba Josefa Sarmiento.
And my maternal grandmother was called Josefa Sarmiento,
Y Rubén Darío era Sarmiento.
and that was Rubén Darío's second last name.
Y decían que era prima de mi bisabuela.
And they were cousins.
Entonces Darío para nosotros era un orgullo familiar.
So Darío was a family pride.
Y leía a ellos tres, pero era una poesía convencional con rima.
It was a conventional I was reading those three poets, which were conventional poetry that rhymed.
Cuando tenía 16 años,
When I was 16,
tuve mi primer novio,
I had my first boyfriend,
que era poeta
and he was a poet.
y que se había ganado un premio en el colegio,
And he won a prize at school for poetry.
y después se ganó un premio de cuento.
And then he won for short stories.
Y él me regaló dos libros importantes para mí.
And he gave her gifts of books that became very important for her.
Los 20 poemas de amor y una canción desesperada de Pablo Neruda,
Neruda's 20 love poems.
y una antología de poesía norteamericana que habían traducido José Coronel Urtecho y Ernesto Cardenal al español.
And a translation of important North American poetry that had been translated by Ernesto Cardenal and Urtecho.
Así me puse en contacto con el verso libre,
So then I discovered free verse,
a pesar de que Darío empezó con el verso libre, ¿verdad?, dentro del modernismo.
even though Darío in modernism also did some work with free verse.
Pero fue de esa edad que ya escribí
But
versos
that's the
libres.
age that I started writing.
Y publiqué por primera vez un poema que lo escribí cuando ese primer novio, que era muy infiel,
My first published poem was to this boyfriend who was very unfaithful.
terminé con él
I ended it.
y escribí un poema tristísima que el título era Pájaros Grises, porque el cielo se me llenó de pájaros grises.
And I wrote a very sad poem called Gray Birds, because for me the sky was full of gray birds.
Pero la primera vez que publiqué no puse mi nombre porque me daba pena, sino que puse la sigla, Vime, Vidalúmenes.
But I was embarrassed to put my name on it, so I published it with just the initials VM.
Muchas gracias.
Excuse me, may I suggest holding the microphone? Because we'll hear you much better.
Dice que se oye mejor si tiene el micrófono en la mano.
Así, ahora sí, porque no podía con el libro y el micrófono.
She said the reason she didn't was she couldn't do the book and the microphone at the same time, but now she can. And then take it away to make sure you do.
Es que los músicos eran altos.
I have a question for Vida Luz, but first I want to give the congratulations of your sister city next door in Newton. We're also 27 years old. We congratulate you. We followed your progress here in Brookline. We're very, very proud of you, and shoulder to shoulder we go forward into this new century.
Él es uno de los fundadores de la ciudad hermana de Newton, San Juan del Sur, y quiere felicitar a Brookline, el hermanamiento de Brookline y Casablanca, y dice que sigue con mucho interés el progreso nuestro, y ellos también han hecho muchas cosas muy buenas.
Sí, hay nuevas voces en la poesía nicaragüense, nuevos poetas que necesitamos nosotros leer. Are there new poets coming along in the Nicaraguan poetic scene that we should be reading?
Bueno, en San Juan del Sur hay otra biblioteca excelente. ¿Es cierto?
In San Juan del Sur, there's also a wonderful library, not just in Casablanca.
En julio estuve en Las Vegas recibiendo el premio del mejor libro de poesía bilingüe del premio latino.
In July, she was in Las Vegas accepting the prize for the best Spanish-English bilingual book published.
Había una conferencia de bibliotecarios de American Library Association, que yo soy parte de esa asociación, y ahí estaba la bibliotecaria de San Juan del Sur.
And there was a meeting there of librarians. She belongs to the International Library Association as well. And also there was Jane, who was the founder of the San Juan del Sur Library. And I also have to mention Vida Luz is, in addition to everything else, a librarian.
Y ella me compró un libro para ella y otro para la biblioteca.
And she bought a book for herself and another one for the library. Hint, hint. Anybody here want to buy one for the Casablanca?
En relación a voces nuevas, hay montones de poetas jóvenes ya. La actual, ya tenemos relevo en todas las asociaciones. La actual presidenta de la Asociación Nicaragüense de Escritoras es Marianela Corriols, que además es una gran médica, trabaja coordinando proyectos de AID en materia de salud en Nicaragua.
Okay, she said there's a whole bunch of young poets coming up, the next generation. There are a lot of good poets, and she's mentioning a woman named
Marianela Corriols.
Okay.
Marianela
Corriols.
Es médica y poeta.
She's a doctor and a poet.
Y muchos jóvenes, varones y mujeres de 20 años. Bueno, ahorita, el año antepasado, yo por 2 años fui presidenta del Centro Nicaragüense de Escritores y convocamos para publicar 2 veces al año.
For the 2 years, she was president of the Nicaraguan Association of Writers, and they had a contest.
Y la escritora más joven de Nicaragua fue seleccionada Fátima Villalta de Matagalpa, de la ciudad donde yo nací, con una novela que escribió a los 17 años, que Sergio Ramírez, con toda su experiencia de escritor, dijo que la estructura era perfecta.
Fátima, ¿cómo era?
Villalta.
Fátima Villalta, from Matagalpa, the youngest writer there, 17 years old, won the prize with a novel that Sergio Ramirez, who is a wonderful, internationally recognized Nicaraguan writer, said was perfect.
La novela se llama Bailaré sobre tu tumba y es un tema durísimo.
It's called I Will Dance on Your Tomb, and it's a wonderful book. Yeah. We want to thank you all for coming so much, and thank this wonderful town of Brookline for all the support over the years for the Sister City project, because it isn't just the people who do the work and go down there back and forth, it's all of you who supported us for more than 27 years. So thank you so much, Brookline.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Tito. It's also an honor for us to have here the poet laureate of Brookline, the sisters of Edith Steinberg is here somewhere. Edith, the poet laureate of Brookline. She is in the audience and a sister poet. So thank you all very, very much. Again, Wednesday and Thursday, you're welcome to join us. Thank you, Maxine, and thank you, Tito.